Pittsburgh, are they the team right now in the AFC North? Because they certainly look like it.
Well, I mean, they definitely do, and obviously you got to give them credit because they just beat the team that was challenging them for that supremacy, and the team that won the AFC North last year, and the Baltimore Ravens. But the Baltimore Ravens are 0-4 in the last 4 matchups against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's with whoever it is at quarterback, and it's just like Lamar Jackson struggles against Tomlin coach teams. It doesn't matter if Kenny Pickett's at quarterback, if Mitchell Trubisky's at quarterback, they're finding a way to beat the Baltimore Ravens. And this is with the super tandem of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. But again, Todd Monken is falling victim to the thing that Baltimore Ravens coordinators do every single time things get tight in a ball game. In a big time ball game, they stop running the football. And everybody knows the statistics of their wins versus their losses. Every time they lose, it's because Derrick Henry has 15 carries or less. I think he averages 14 carries in their losses and like 20 carries in their wins. So keep feeding him the ball. But whenever they get down in these games, and it wasn't a huge lead, they missed multiple field goals uncharacteristically. Justin Tucker, the all pro future Hall of Famer, just could not get the ball through the uprights early in this game. If he makes those field goals, they likely win this game, but he didn't. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin knows how to win in an ugly ball game. He knows when things aren't going great. Hey, that defense is going to step up, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense stepped up in a big way. You just saw all their big-time guys stepping up. T.J. Watt had a sack. Peyton Wilson had a really incredible one-hand, diving, ripping away interception late in the ball game that really turned the tide to the Pittsburgh Steelers and really kind of closed out this game. Cam Hayward had a huge deflection in this game, late in the game, that they had to have. Najee Harris, 18 carries for 63 yards. Russell Wilson didn't have the biggest game. He struggled early on. I think he had 88 yards, somewhere middle of the third quarter, but he turned it on late, 23 of 36, 205 yards. Very costly interception in the end zone late in the game, but played well enough, made big enough plays, converted third downs to help them win this game, to help them run that clock, control the ball game, and that's what they needed. That's what Tomlin needs: protect the ball, run the clock. And I think his tight end probably could have helped him out a little bit and batted that pass down in the end zone. Didn't really seem like he gave a lot of effort, but George Pickens with another good game. I think he's really happy to have Russell Wilson in the fold. 8 catches for 89 yards. But it's concerning, and it has to be scary for Baltimore Ravens fans because it just seems like more of the same. Like, okay, we have an MVP candidate likely to win MVP. I mean, touchdown, interception, Mitchell. I don't think he had the same regression that Jared Goff said. I don't know if 1 touchdown, 1 interception is 5 interceptions in a game. Those aren't created equal, but it's definitely not the huge 4 or 5 touchdown games he had been having. Derrick Henry also got a touchdown, fumbled for the first time in 538 touches. Not the kind of game he's used to having. Obviously, you can't go away from Derrick Henry just because he fumbles the football, but I don't know what you do. This has to be a lesson, and you would have thought they learned this lesson after losing in the playoffs the same way every year, and everybody saying the same thing, including their own staff, saying, hey, we went away from running the football. We'll never do that. We'll never make that a mistake again. I don't know why we did that. We went away from running the football. I don't know why we did that. We went away from running the football. I don't know why we did that. Stop doing it. Run the football. Run it, run it, run it. Run the football. Chris Brown, when you see it running, when you see it running. Run the football. And do I need to put the hat on? Because when you run the I'm going to have to, because when they run the football, they win football games. When they don't run the football, they lose. And it's been true in the playoffs. It's been true all of this year. When they lost to the Raiders, they didn't run the football well. They lost to Cleveland. They didn't run the football well. Kansas City, they didn't run the football well. The Pittsburgh, they didn't run the football well. It's a common theme. It's not hard to see. You don't need analytics or research to really dive deep and see it. You got one of the best running backs in the National Football League. Turn around and hand him the ball sometimes, at least 20 times a game. And sure, you can have Lamar throw it 30 if that's what you want to do, but do not go away from the run game. And that's what they did. Give the Pittsburgh Steelers a lot of credit. They're looking like a top AFC contender. And if the Kansas City Chiefs slip up again, you might look at them as a 1 seed going into these playoffs. And I don't know if Kansas City really wants to go down that road because they'd be seeing the Buffalo Bills a lot earlier than they want to.
There's no question about it. This Steelers defense is nasty. I mean, this offense, I mean, this is the second time this season they've not scored a touchdown and won a game. I mean, the rest of the NFL is 2-18 without scoring a touchdown in a game, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have managed to win 2 games without scoring touchdowns. Kudos to the Steelers. Kudos. That's huge. And Richard, you know all too well a defense that carries a team. And Russell, I don't want to speak poorly about him by any means because he seemed to turn this offense around in Pittsburgh, but he's the beneficiary of another great defense here. Let's see how far he can take this Steelers team because it seems to me like he's got the weapons. He's got Najee Harris. I mean, George Pickens, there's probably no bigger fan. I mean, George Pickens is proving himself to be one of the top receivers in this league ever since Russell Wilson's taken over those reins. So let's see what happens here in Pittsburgh. They've got an opportunity. You're going to see him firsthand on Thursday Night Football, brought to you by our friends at Prime Video. And Richard, you'll walk away either impressed or in questions because this Pittsburgh Steelers team is 8-2. It doesn't matter how you debate it. Right. They are 8-2, and they proved it at home against one of the best teams in the league in the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see where they go from here. In terms of the Baltimore Ravens, it's the Harbaugh Bowl on Monday Night Football. They're going to take on the LA Chargers next. We'll see how they recover from this loss.
Because again, these division games are weird. So even when Pittsburgh's 8-2 and you feel really good about this huge win against Baltimore, sometimes that's setting you up for a letdown in another very tough division game against the Cleveland Browns. And Jameis just threw for almost 400 yards against the Saints. Like it's not that they can't do it. It's not that they can't push the ball down the field and they can't execute. So I hope they don't have a case of overlooking the Cleveland Browns. And that's what I'm going to say on air Thursday night is just, this is a really talented defense, a really good football team. But if their offense struggles like they did, because Cleveland's defense is very capable, Myles Garrett is just as capable of wrecking a game as anybody in this football league. And so if they get out there and start lollygagging and you let Jameis get hot, this can get scary for Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So I know they deserve to feel good about this game and feel good about their season. 8-2. I'm sure their fans could not have predicted them going 8-2 this season after the seasons that they've had, but they look like a really complete team, and I can't wait to see what they look like Thursday. Short week.